Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Coppinger. I'm the sheriff here in Essex County. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Exchange Club of Haverhill for allowing us to submit the names of two of our staff who have done an outstanding job for us here in the Essex County Correctional Facility. The first candidate, we'll say, is Officer Caitlin Bradbury, who is to my far left, and followed by our Director of Clinical Services, Jen Padre. Both of these ladies work in different roles. However, each role complements the other to a high degree, and obviously our number one concern in the jail system is safety. So starting with Officer Bradbury, I would just want to nominate her for an incident that occurred in January of 2021, a little over a year ago. Caitlin was actually helping a nurse on a medical pass, handing out medication to inmates when an incident occurred in what we call the 120B. That's a housing unit that houses many of our gang members. And it was a fight. And this was a major fight. At the end of the incident, we had about 19 individuals who were being combative. Caitlin went in, tried to break up the fight between two individuals, noticed one of the individuals was armed with what we call a shank, which is a homemade weapon, like a knife. Obviously, very, very concerning and could be very deadly. Caitlin engaged this individual and really tried to just diffuse the situation and control it. But it was what we call hands-on. She was, had to wrestle with this male individual who was much larger than her and had size and weight as an advantage. Caitlin stuck with him. It wasn't, I watched the video. I got to tell you, I was very, very impressed at how she maintained her attempts to control the individuals and obviously from a safety point of view. And even at one point in that time, that weapon was being held in the inmate's hands, and he had an opportunity. He could have put that weapon right into her back, and thank God he didn't. And Officer Bradbury, stood her ground, and with eventual help from some of the fellow officers, they took control back of the situation. My hat's off to Caitlin. It was an incredible job. I had the opportunity to issue her a commendation from the Essex County Sheriff's Department, which is the highest award we issue here in-house. Caitlin, congratulations. I think that's outstanding. So, can I ask you first, though, what was going through your mind when you saw it, when you first saw what was happening, and what were you thinking?
Well, at first I didn't see that he had a knife in his hand, the way he was bleeded, but then quickly found out that he had it in his hand. He threatened me with it, and I was like, well, I could either let go of him, someone else could get hurt, or I could try to restrain him, do my best, try to get him down on the ground.
Do you like being a correctional officer?
I do, yeah.
And what's the best part about being a correctional officer? Anything that really stands out to you?
I said it in my interview years ago that the reason why I wanted to do it was to try to make it a safer, more efficient place for myself, my coworkers, my partners. You do your job and you forget that there's people behind closed doors that are also like just watching your back, and I support you. So.
Well, again, congratulations. It was an awesome job, and we're all, speaking for the whole department, we're all thankful that you were not injured, nor any of our staff. Unfortunately, that one inmate got stabbed that day, but thankfully that was not serious. So, job well done. Thank you so much. Thank you. The second candidate here is Jen Padre, our Director of Clinical Services. Some of you may have been around for a few years. You might remember when they shut down the state hospitals, and at the time those individuals were released back to the streets, and many of them have ended up in a jail or house of correction like we have here in Essex County. And truthfully, our jails and houses of correction have become our treatment facilities for the mental health, the largest ones in the county and probably in the state under today's system. So Jen brings a world of expertise in her background and training in the area of mental health and trying to address the needs of not only the inmates, but also our staff. But her heart and her soul is really into the whole issue of how do we help these individuals that are charged to our custody, the inmates, and how do we find the best services. Jen, again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for what you do. You are a huge asset to us, but any thoughts on overall how are things going with the population here?
So I think things have come a really long way, even from when I started several years ago. And just by the fact of having the opportunity to be in this position for you and for the county speaks volumes as to, the commitment of the department and you as to providing, clinical services that are best practiced, evidence-based, which is really what we want to be doing if we want to help these individuals so that when they return to our communities, that they come out in a more stable way with resources that they really need to kind of fill some gaps in their life.
And I would point out one program that we put together about a couple of years ago, actually during COVID, and Jen was instrumental, is our COPE program, Correctional Opportunities for Personal Enrichment. It's a program where we took some of the inmates out of traditional hardcore cells, put them into a dormitory-style housing, hired new clinicians, and embedded them in that unit so we could help the inmates and give them better care in a less threatening or a less anxiety-inducing environment. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It's providing an opportunity for individuals while they're here to live in an environment that they're able to utilize some more coping skills. There's freedom around movement, socialization, they have access to treatment programs right on their housing unit, and they have access to case management staff that are also on the unit. So it's much more focused on, the sensitive needs of individuals with mental health issues while they're incarcerated, helping them to build some good foundation while they're here to then get back out in a successful way.
One last point I would like to make too is, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, our staff are our greatest resource. So we're always looking to do things better and keep them healthy. You heard Caitlin's endeavor. Stressful, absolutely and truly. I didn't want to ask you the question. I'm not going to ask you on camera, but I bet you had a few sleepless nights following that, just because of the what ifs of the world.
Sure.
Just a couple weeks ago, we had a wellness fair here, our first annual. And Jen, I'm going to ask if you could speak a little about that.
Sure. We had a number of vendors come in from the outside, as well as some vendors that already service our staff. We had 2 days of wellness fair, both here at the jail and at the farm, our offsite. And we were able to really take time with staff, offer them some support, some general education about all different kinds of things, and more of a holistic way to take care of themselves and learn things about nutrition, about relaxation, other things related to finances and planning for retirement and things like that. It was really well attended, which was really nice, being able to talk about how people feel about working here and the different things that they go through, and being able to provide them support as well is a really great opportunity for me.
So ladies, in closing, I want to thank both of you again for all you do. We're very proud of you. You're both ultimate professionals in our organization. Your dedication is second to none. And once again, to the Exchange Club of Haverhill, thank you for this opportunity. It's very much appreciated.